What's up, everybody? FSC Trucking. Got a little job to do today. It's an old brake chamber that came out of my trailer. I had to cut it off because it got jammed up, and then later on was able to get moving again. It froze apparently internally, like not like frozen, like full of water and then froze up, like temperature went down and made ice. Froze like jammed somehow. And the weird thing is that's the side that did it once before. We did put a new relay valve / ABS valve on this trailer, and it hasn't happened again, but I did have to hack it off. So with that, we're gonna go ahead and change it, because when we did S-cams, we did all 3 of them except for this one, because this one's fairly new. It's been on there maybe 2 years now. This being, I think, its 2nd winter, and it got jammed again. So the ABS valve may have been part of the issue, but even when the pneumatics were taken off, it still was gummed up. The S-cam was good. We did change that. This is kind of a problem that's been hit or miss, so I'm just not messing with it anymore. Everything's getting replaced. So we got new chamber, old chamber, real simple stuff. This is a 2424L. I think the Peterbilt's a 3030. Now what this thing is, what it does, there's 2 air ports like you see right here. 2 ports go in. One releases the spring brake. There's a gigantic spring in here that applies the brakes, pushing the push rod out. And when you apply air to it to release the parking brake, it collapses with an air pancake in there, like a little diaphragm, and it crushes that spring, thus releasing the brake. When you step on your service brake or pull down on your trolley valve, it applies air to the other side. Actually, this side here, this is service side, this is emergency side. Anyway, so when you step on the brake, you apply air on this side, thus pushing this brake chamber forward. There's another diaphragm in there, and that's how that applies your brake. Depending on how hard you're pressing on the brake, how much air pressure is applied. That's basic how it works. And of course, if there's a total air loss, like if you pull your brake knobs, or God forbid a trailer falls off a truck and the air lines get yanked off, it basically, like in railroad terms, it grenades the whole system. So then the brakes apply immediately. That's the emergency side. It comes with a standard clevis, but we have a Meritor type. Here's your slack adjuster for it. It's how you adjust your brakes with that right there. So we got that. It comes with these little nifty things too. Anybody know what those are? I know what they are. All right, so with that, let's figure out how to do this. So basically, long story short, the clock position on this is different. Yes, I'll take these fittings out, put new Teflon tape, put them in here. Now, this brake is caged. So in other words, it's the same as if I put air to it. So what this caging bolt has done is it's collapsed that spring by pulling the spring in. So now the brake is sitting as if the parking brake is off, service brake not applied. This push rod does need to be trimmed, so we'll do that here later. But right now what I need to do is change the clock position. Not only the twist of this clamp comes off, but I have to change not only the twist of this whole setup, but also see the bolts are facing up. I'd rather them face down. There's just no room to work in this trailer. So if I have to, I'd rather have the bolts face down so you can hit them with an impact from below. There's no room on top. It's just a very small trailer. There's just no room to work. So with that, let me get these out, so glue some. Alrighty. I did take this plug out so I can thread in a nipple to apply air to it if I want to. Just put shop air directly to it and it'll function. Matter of fact, I can show this to you. Show you how it functions. Move this. I thread this in the service side. I'll apply shop air quick. See, it pushes it out. That's how that works. Excellent. So now what we got to do, that whole system works on a pancake that's spread in here. It's like basically it's a diaphragm, not much more than that. So now that that's done, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna rotate this whole piece here, take this all the way loose. I may as well take it apart so you see how it goes together. To most of you guys, this is like basic stuff, but not everybody drives truck for a living on this channel, so you're probably like, how does all that work? Okay, well this is real basic how semi-truck brakes work. The basics as far as the pneumatics go. So that just, like I said, that's just a clamp. We're gonna have to rotate that. So this is the piece that pushes out your push rod, right? And the spring that keeps it collapsed when you release the brake. This spring right here is the one that shoves it all back in. This is the diaphragm. Also, old ones are good for parts bins, put your nuts and bolts. Diaphragm goes in there. See your port right there? Air goes in and it shoves the air, pushing this diaphragm out, thus shoving your push rod out, thus applying your brake. That's real basic stuff. Really good, but like I said, basic. The air seal is made by this pancake being squeezed between this aluminum housing and that steel housing. That's how the seal is made. Put that there. This on. Here we go. Then we put that on. So now what I want to try to do is get the clock position reasonably straight. So now what I'm going to do, there's the hole down for your caging bolt and there's your air lines. So we're going to spin it 180. Oh, now we're going to spin it this way. Apparently these are opposites. That's fine though. As long as the air lines are in the same position, we're good. Clock this all the way around, somewhere like that. And then you got the bolts. See the mounting bolts here? Basically at that angle. Mounting bolts go basically at that angle, like so ish. They're gonna be perfect. It's just I'm trying to duplicate what was on the truck when it was on the truck. Well, it doesn't gotta be perfect. It just needs to be close enough to where it'll go together easier. Because again, with this trailer, there's just not much room to work. Which is why I position it up on ramps. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna push this. Actually, there's another way I could do it. All right, so now, plumbing to you, plumbing to you. It's clocked, approximate same angle, give or take. Might be able to get a little, there we go. Oh yeah, I like that. All right, these are tightened down. So now, tighten the clamps. Excellent. All right, now it's clock position. It's pretty much the same as the other one. Excellent. Keep them straight. All right, here we go. Sounds easy, right? Now what I want to do is take a Sharpie marker and mark approximately where these point to. This one points basically at the edge of there. So I'll mark it just right there. Just give it a little mark just so you see where it's pointing. That one part's the same. Park him right about there. Just the angle. Sweet. This one I'll pull back here. This one goes forward. All right, we're done with this. That's garbage. Excellent. Thread this bad boy in. Alrighty, now we got to cut the push rod to the right length. Measured off the other ones, and the way we got to measure is the end of the thread goes here. Now when I apply air, it'll come back out, or when I take the cage bolt out, it'll push out. So what you want is 4 inches from, at least on this trailer. It's not always 4. Your trailer might be very different. Matter of fact, it probably will be. But 4 inches worth of threaded rod before you cut, and that's where you put your clevis on. So we're threading this in. There's a reason for that. It helps clean the threads after you get done cutting. End of the thread, 4 inches. Right there, just mark it right there. Excellent. Now we take my absolutely dangerous grinder and try not to cut my fingers off. Clevis and the pins. There we go. Somewhere in that range. Bring the locking tab down, locking nut down. Excellent. It's about where we need to be. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna slide this up in there. First we gotta take these off. Remember I threaded it back on so I don't lose them. Not to only lose them, so I remember to bring them down. That up in there. Excellent. All right, now that's hooked up, or rather, it's installed. It's not hooked up yet. All right, so now the clock position is set up loose. Thread there. Okay, so that's the service line. This one's the emergency line. Excellent, now we're not hitting that. Well, apparently the videoing part of this job works better if I actually turn the camera on. So we got the slack adjuster installed, got the pins put in. I'll say on these pins, I don't like them this style because these cotter pins are the fastest to rust out. And then when this pin here, this actual clevis pin falls out, this overextends and then it no longer does its self-adjusting job. So I can't believe I didn't turn the camera on for that, but nonetheless, there we are. I installed the brake chamber, I installed the slack adjuster. It's not even close to adjusted properly. But now what I have to do is apply air to it, release all the brakes, and then I can get the caging bolt out easy. And then with the actual pneumatics holding the brakes off, I'll go ahead and set this adjustment. So now let me crawl out and apply brakes. You'll see the older slack adjuster on screen left. It'll pull in when I apply air, and the one on the right won't do anything because the caging bolt's holding it open. You're probably hearing what sounds like an air leak because that microphone on my camera has a big, it's an aftermarket mic, and it picks up any kind of noise available. That's the air chuck. It's right above us where I hook the two air lines together. I got one for working here and another one for working on the truck itself. So take your caging bolts loose. Now, if you remember me using these to get the Ford Cabover moving in the shop, and also get the chapel trailer rolling at the truck stop. If you have to cage a brake because you don't have enough air pressure to take them off, usually, if everything's working right, it just takes the parking brake off, but it does not disable your service brake. And if it's completely jammed, then you have to hack the damn push rod off. I usually do try to put these back on. Just keeps the salt and grime out of the chamber a little bit better. Just keeps it to last a little longer, hopefully. There we go. Okay, now to adjust the brake. So now all I gotta do is tighten the lock nut on the clevis. It's that right here. Didn't do it earlier, should have. There you go. Okay. Here the brake drums, or the shoe hitting on the drum. There we go. Get her till she's tight. Quarter turn off. Excellent. So now, really next step is I'm going to adjust the other brakes, and then I'm going to do a full grease job on this truck or this trailer. Grease them. You got one here at the bushing, another one in there at the bushing, and then the S-cam itself. And of course, there's 1, 2, 3 each wheel position on this trailer. So it's 3, 6, 12 grease fittings, and you're done. Trailer's pretty easy to do. It's the trucks that take forever. I found a bracket cracked and mangled and rusted. It's this piece here. It has to do with adjusting the ride height of the trailer, and it was just kind of dangling and half rusted and cracked off, so I went ahead and I made a new one. It originally bolted to the trailer with just a couple of 1/4 20 bolts that were tapped into this bracket, and I didn't really like how that was set up, so what I'm going to do is just weld the new one in place. I've already painted the back side of it, so it'll be pretty good to original. Now the fun part, holding the new one up, welding it in place without getting ruined myself. All right, here you go, in case you were curious. This is the original one. Of course, I beat on it with a hammer. Yeah, they just put them 2 bolts through and tapped it into the trailer itself, and I welded it right on, so that's what it was.